Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Cool
Cool beans.
Hello. Welcome to the Cool Beans Show, episode 2.
Yes, and the video quality is super bad because we are an indie show. So
Yeah, and we are
it's
filming on photo booth.
yeah, so it's supposed to be bad. It's lo-fi. But yeah, this episode we have a band from Liverpool called Tides, and they are super influenced by 80s synth pop, and they have 2 singles out on Spotify that are amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we're gonna link everything below, so you should definitely check it out. But in the meantime, grab a snack, grab something to drink, and
grab some beans.
Oh yeah, grab some beans, white beans, coffee beans, any beans you want, jelly beans.
Kidney beans.
Yeah, and
Human beans.
No, okay, we're gonna stop there. Enjoy the show, and we'll see you after. Bye. Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Cool Beans Show, guys.
Welcome. The second edition. Thank you so much for being here. So I guess we can start by telling us a little bit about yourself, if you can present yourself. Yeah.
We're Tides. I'm Fred. I'm the lead singer. We've been a band. The 5 of us that are there now. We've been a band for nearly 2.5 years. Would you say? Nearly 3 years.
Yeah, gotta be about that now, isn't it?
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Harry, do you want to talk about yourself?
Which Harry?
Two Harrys.
Well, yeah, I'm one of the Harrys. I play the synthesizer in the band, and I do a bit of guitar sometimes as well. Fred.
And I'm Harry. To be fair, all my friends call me Fred, so feel free to. It might make things a bit easier, to be fair, in terms of the both being called Harry. But yeah. So and I play guitar. I play guitar in the band.
Wait, so you've been a band for what, 2 years? You said?
Yeah, I think we're.
But
Yeah.
right in the middle of COVID, right? So how was everything during that? Must have been complicated.
It was quite, we kind of during the first lockdown we were all together. I think was it the first one?
Yeah.
We all were like a gap year together, weren't we? So we were working at home.
So we were sort of living in the same place at the time back home, because we are all from a place called Bebington on the Wirral. And even though we couldn't see each other for the first lockdown, when we kind of came out of it, we could work. We were able to work together in person on the things that we've been working on individually over lockdown. But then I think kind of post lockdown, we actually moved away to different cities. So now I'm in Nottingham, Fred's in Brighton, Harry's in Cardiff. So we've actually kind of had to work remotely, even though even outside of COVID. Anyway, we've kind of everything's changed with regards to our approach to writing, and we do work remotely most.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet? Like, were you friends before you formed the band, or did you guys meet when you formed the band?
Well, me and Fred, we've been playing, we had guitar lessons together when we were in year 7. So we've always played together, and we've always sort of we sort of started playing together in some form of band, probably around the age of 15 or so. And then the other members of the band, we sort of, we were mates with them in school as well. And then we met Fred. How was it like? It was through your mate, wasn't it?
Yeah. So one of my mates. Well, no, actually, it was. So I think Freg spoke to one of my good friends, and then Freg sent me a DM on Instagram, and then I went to practice with him, and then been with him since then. So nearly, I reckon it's
That was February.
Yeah, it was February. Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it was lucky we Minton was there that night. It was completely by chance, really, because we met. You've heard of them, but there's another band from Liverpool called Spin, and they were playing at a venue called the Arts Club that night, and we were just outside the venue, and he just came up and started making conversation. Didn't know the guy, completely random, and then he was asking. I think he knew kind of that me and Harry were in a band and we were looking for a singer. So we mentioned Fred, and then yeah, we were like, Fred said yeah, we hit him up, and we it worked out. It worked out well, luckily. Yeah.
Well, we used to, so we in Liverpool where we used to play all our gigs really up to now. They had a music competition for young bands called Liverpool Rocks Battle of Bands, and the year that I used to be in another band, and the year that we entered, they were in a band as well, so Harry and Freg, and their band won the competition. So I knew of them as people, but I didn't really know them personally. And then I started with them.
And do you guys remember what those first jam sessions were like? Like, what was it to play music together for the first time?
I suppose me and Fred sort of, we like years ago, we just sort of played in sort of in the music rooms in the back of like in school, just playing old like sort of rock songs like Cream and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think when I remember our first practice with them because the bassist had a broken wrist at the time, so he wasn't there. And I remember I was like, it was in the it was below the studio that we record all our songs at, where I had the first practice with them. And I remember it was very nerve-wracking because I kind of just turned up and was in this basement of this room and with these people I didn't really know, and I was singing with them. It was quite strange, but yeah.
So you've recently released your single called The Sun. And Fred, you've already mentioned during the features that it was about the sun washing away all your stressful thoughts, and etc. But can you maybe tell us a little bit more about it? How was the production process? Did the process of writing was also helpful for your anxiety? And yeah.
Yeah, it was the kind of a lot of the work for The Sun was done in that January lockdown, and I think it was when we started to learn to work remotely. I think we had a few practices before we went into the lockdown, and luckily we were able to get one studio date in just before. But I think that was a song that kind of, it came a lot through us being on our own. It started with Harry's progression, and then we kind of built up from there. And we that was where we started using like digital audio workspaces and to create our demos, and now we're using them like every day to create new songs. So it was kind of the Sun was a big turning point for how we work as a band.
Yeah, I think it has changed the way we sort of actually our approach to write, like the whole sort of writing process of songs, because prior to that, like Fred said, before we did work that way, we kind of actually just get into a room, and it's like the classic band kind of, all playing their instruments. Someone will come with a song idea, and then we would all just kind of play along, try and work it out, figure out what needs to change. But it kind of I think it's strengthened our to write good, to compose music properly, because we now record all our parts into Logic usually, which is a DAW, and we record it all in, and it's just a constant process of like creating a big demo basically, and that way you can constantly kind of add parts in, swap parts out, constantly listen back, have time to digest it, and not have to make them decisions kind of on the spot when you're in a room together. And it's changed our approach now, and it's led to things like we use a lot more electronic kind of programmed style drums now as well. Even the actual software itself has kind of changed, has kind of shaped the music a little bit in a way. I think I would say.
So is anxiety a recurrent topic in your music or in the music that you will soon release?
I guess I mean, it's quite easy to talk about. I think for me, I think it is. And I guess subconsciously, I think a lot of my music does come from that kind of like mental space. And like, I think one thing, because we kind of are in a process at the moment of writing a lot of music. And I think that has changed the way I write my music. I remember when I wrote The Sun, there was kind of a long process behind it, but now when I'm writing songs basically weekly, I kind of can't think too much about them. So I guess at the time, I was allowed to use anxiety to help me write the music, but now it makes it a lot more difficult, because I think when I use my emotions to write music, it takes me a lot longer. Whereas if I kind of detach myself from that, it's a lot easier to write the music and a lot quicker to write the music.
So how does being from Liverpool influence your songwriting and your music?
I think, to be fair, I think, we were lucky to come from somewhere with such a, not only a rich musical heritage, but still a massive scene to this day. Like, I imagine it's maybe you're the exception for it, but I think maybe for Harry as well, it's kind of probably, at least it did for me, it highlighted moving away, moving to Nottingham away from Liverpool, kind of highlighted how good the music scene is there, and how much there really is in terms of, like in terms of venues, in terms of like record shops, and little just any business really that's built around music. There's lots of independent businesses all doing things to create a scene, and it's
and there's so many great bands in Liverpool as well, I think, compared to a lot of other cities, definitely in Liverpool.
Yeah,
like, especially amongst that dream pop kind of genre, which is something that we've like obviously sort of played around with quite a lot.
I think, I mean, especially in the 80s and 90s, like, I mean, that's the kind of direction we're going, like an 80s synth pop kind of direction now. And you look at like there's so many Merseyside bands that came from that time. I mean, I guess Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, and like, yeah, there's so many that, and as Fred was saying, like, we wouldn't have been given a platform had we not had Liverpool at our doorstep. Like, I think the amount of gig venues on offer, I think it's just so easy to play a gig in Liverpool, and I haven't found that. I mean, Brighton is a really, really good city for creative arts and new music, but from my experience so far, it feels easier almost to get a gig in Liverpool. But luckily, we have got one in Brighton in a couple of weeks, which will be our first gig outside of Liverpool, so that'll be interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I guess this is a good segue into maybe talking about what your influences are and like the kind of music you guys really like to listen to.
Yeah, to be fair, I think Fred mentioned like the 80s. Like, I think a lot of the kind of sounds we gravitate to are kind of definitely 80s inspired. Especially, the synths we use are kind of replicate a lot of the analog sounds from. I mean, they are analog synths, but they replicate the sounds of that were really popularized in the 80s first. And there is the local heritage side of it. I think there's a lot of groups from that time period, from the area we're from, Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, like Fred mentioned. We've got like Flock of Seagulls. There's lots of different bands who kind of did take synthesizers and created like really unique like stuff with them that hadn't really been seen before, because a lot of the bands were kind of were traditionally kind of guitar based. I think we take inspiration from a lot of genres. We actually at one point we were going down a much more kind of dream pop shoegaze influenced route, where things were a lot slower and and kind of more textural, whereas now we've kind of focused in on like the pop elements, so we're more pop than dream if we're a dream pop band, as Dave put it the other day. And it's, you know, and you know, we actually sped the pace up a little bit, started integrating more electronic drums, and kind of it is more poppy now. Definitely a lot of stuff what we're doing than what we did do. But I don't know if you've got something to add, Harry, or further.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I mean, obviously, I think since The Sun's probably the first song that we've done since we bought this new synthesizer, which is, as Fred said, it's a replica of like quite a famous Roland synth from the 80s. And it definitely creates that kind of, we're definitely sort of going down that kind of 80s synth pop kind of route, which, you know, obviously has been said, was massive in Liverpool in the 80s.
I think as well, like, even like, yes, we've got since then. One of the things, I mean, I don't know if you know, I know Fred's been working on recently, because we have kind of shifted the focus really recently to become kind of a, you know, we are a pop band really, and that's kind of where we envisage going in the future. And it's, you know, lyrically as well, we've got the whole kind of more direct approach, and you know, which has been influenced a lot by you know, a lot of the local bands, and in particular, you know, I think, you know, we're sort of working with someone at the moment who has a lot of influence over that, and we are taking things definitely in a more poppy direction rather than, you know, the dream pop stuff that we used to do.
So switching the subject a little bit, what is, according to you, the hardest part of being indie artist nowadays?
Question. I think it's the it's quite a weird one, but it's through everything shifting to digital and online.
Yeah.
There's a lot of benefits to take for independent artists, but there's also a lot of
Sorry, guys.
It's all right, don't worry. I think, yeah, there's a lot of positives to take. I mean, it's easier to release your music, but I think the market is a lot more saturated, and I think a lot of music gets lost because of the oversaturation and the amount of people releasing music, and that almost makes it more difficult through it being online. Like, I think you know, there's you know, there's a lot of positives to take from it, but I think ultimately, like, I think one of our biggest struggles has been growing your online presence, I think.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's definitely true. Yeah, that's agreed. There's just so much music these days. Like, anyone can upload music. You know, you could scream into a microphone for 30 seconds and upload that if you wanted to, and people do just upload. You know, there's so much stuff out there, so it's hard to like. Yeah, I think it's about kind of trying to find creative ways to promote yourself as well. You know, that other people aren't doing. And we've kind of our promotion hasn't been like the greatest. Like, you know, I'm sure we'll all be the first to admit it. Like, in the past, at certain releases. So one of the things that we are working on is really trying to expand. Like, we never really had a strong like video presence. Like, for example, we never really did music videos or with our releases in the past. Now I think with The Sun, we did our first kind of. I mean, we had a music video for Kaleidoscope, which was kind of spliced together from some studio footage that we already had, but with The Sun, that was the first time we properly set out to plan and shoot a video which had a real you know, which kind of had a. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to have a storyline moving forward, but it had a little bit of a storyline. It was kind of a proper music video, and I think that's something we want to do moving forward. Is kind of create a lot more video content, and it was a really good trial run because it was the first time we did it, and we learned a lot from it, and we kind of know what to go in with next time, I think. And I think it'll be. One of the things that I'm really looking forward to as well is just playing around with lots of different concepts in the future in terms of videos. You know, and kind of like just having different themes and different visual styles with different releases. I think we'll definitely sort of play around, experiment a lot more with that moving forward. So I think it creates much. People want the visual aspect definitely to be as strong as the music. That's just as important these days. I think when, you know, it's not only the record sleeve that you're looking at, it's actually the album art, the video, you know, everything's on your computer. Everyone can see that. I mean, everyone knows that. Yeah.
So do you guys ever find it annoying that you also have to think about promoting yourself and building, like, you know, getting more Instagram followers, you know, like when you probably set out to just make some good music and now you have to like think about how many followers you have or how many streams you got? Does that ever bother you?
I think it does a bit. Like, because I mean, your progress, I guess, is judged on numbers and streams and followers, and you know, when you put so much work into something, like the Sun, you know, the studio time, the sending sending mixes back and forth, working on the music video, you kind of you hope for you know, for a larger stream count, the more you the harder you work on a song, but often that's not the case. It can just be a lot of the time luck based on playlisting, and which is quite frustrating, because you know, there'll probably be bands that have been very successful but didn't apply much to the release, and got lucky and got put on a playlist and built their kind of success on that. But yeah, you know, it can be frustrating to kind of get your head bogged down in the numbers, but it's also important to not think about it too much, because as long as you are releasing, you know, better music every time, there's going to be someone who hears it, who likes the idea, who takes it further. Yeah.
I think like almost all artists, I think, would just want to create their, you know, them whatever, even outside of music, probably just want to sort of create, you know, if it was up to us, it would be ideal. Our ideal scenario, I'm pretty sure for most people as well, would just be to be able to get on with just doing the music, just making music. That's, you know, like you say, it is just a pain. It is a bit of a pain that you have to kind of promote yourself. But you know, I guess it's, we, you know, it's all a learning process, really. I think, you know, the more we release out, we recognize what could have been better. We recognize what, you know, went wrong, and how we can do it better next time. I think that's the main thing. You got, you know, you just got to take something from it.
So, what's the biggest goal that you want to achieve with your music and with your career? Do you have like an ultimate goal? Like if you did, you're good.
Biggest band in the world.
You want to be the biggest band on the planet.
That's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, like, you've just got, I think it's about commitment. Yeah. I mean, like, if you tell yourself that your end goal is to be the biggest band on the planet, then you're not you're not setting yourself a limit, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, is there a place where you would like to play?
Yeah, like a dream venue,
yeah,
dream city to perform.
What's that for?
Probably, I don't know. You know, I mean, I think we'd all love to do the big festivals. You know, like with Glastonbury and you know, obviously the big American ones, stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty. I don't have anything specific in mind. I don't think there's like a holy grail venue in my mind. I think if I had to choose, I think I'd rather have, for me anyway, personally, I think I'd rather have a massively commercially successful record than to play big gigs. I suppose it will come hand in hand, really. I don't know. I think the big festivals would be cool. Glastonbury, I'd say.
I guess a big tour would be pretty cool as well. I mean, I just, everything that comes with being in one of the biggest bands in the world, I guess. You know, that's, you know, the tours to new countries, to through Europe, through America, and then, you know, the commercial success, and I think just everything that follows on from being the best, I guess. The biggest venues.
So How is it to be back on stage after a long time and see
was-
your audience, meet your audience?
It was
Yeah,
weird.
it was great just being together and being able to play the songs together again after like, was it a year and a half since our last gig? Like
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
you know, it was a bit strange, but like it was great just, you know, being on stage playing songs.
I think it's funny because I moved to Brighton September last year, and a lot of my friends I've kind of they've got into our music, and they've never seen us live. You know, they've probably listened. I mean, I've got friends that have been itching to see us play live, and in a couple of weeks they'll get to see us, and that'll be quite strange for them, I guess, because they've been listening for so long and haven't been able to put a face to the performers, I guess.
Yeah, it's strange. If it does fit, it's a great feeling to be able to play live, to people, even just the gig we did the other week was a small venue. It was 100 capacity or something like that. It was only small. It was no like big event or anything, but just to actually.
In a way, the small ones they're like they can be better in a way, can't they? Because they're more intimate, like with the crowd.
It was just great to just play again and kind of because that's a huge part of being in a band and making music in the first place. Like you want people to hear it live. It adds another element, and it is nice to show people. And obviously I think at first it is kind of polarized. It's being on stage is kind of not the easiest thing, so it takes a while, I think, to get into your kind of rhythm, like as a performer to give a performance. So I think I'm looking forward to actually just doing more and kind of building them back up now over time, and just really getting into a rhythm where like we're all really like comfortable, with gigging again, because we did get to that stage and then obviously COVID happened and it's been out, and it's I think it does take, for me at least, I think it takes a little while to actually get comfortable, but it's definitely like it'll be nice to really get into a rhythm again and start gigging, hopefully, very regularly now.
And do you guys have any like funny experiences or stories from any of your gigs in the past?
Any springs on?
Well, I mean, I know Matt had a broken ankle on our last gig, but it's not that funny, I think.
It's this nothing leaps out. I don't know. Like as Harry said, at that gig we played the other week, the bassist Matthew was playing with a broken ankle. But luckily Matt stayed standing. We offered him a wheelchair. We said he was allowed to
That would have been more funny if he had a wheelchair.
Stand up. I was half tempted. I'm next to him on stage. I was half tempted to give him a little dig and check his balance out, but he was fine.
Just before we went on, some lad had this massive like piano like outside of stage, like where Matty was standing, obviously with his broken ankle, and luckily Matty wasn't on stage, but I just fell like crashed down. I'm just like, imagine if that happened when he was on stage.
In about 20 minutes, him talking out, it was all it would have been bad. But I'm afraid it didn't actually happen. So yeah.
So
Oh no, just I couldn't think of any other little stuff live. It's been so long, I guess.
So
You tripped over a wire and cut all our sound out, Fred. I remember that.
Actually, that's true. I do have one. We're playing like quite a big show, supporting Uncle Monks. At the time, it was it was a big show for us. We were playing with like Liverpool bands, and it was a sold out show. And it was our last song and probably our strongest song. And I had to I had to turn the filter on Harry's synth, and I turned it. And then when I was moving back to the microphone, I tripped over a wire, and somehow I cut out the synth and the Harry's guitar, and we had to panic whilst playing the song to get the sound back.
Just like
we had our old singer there as well, didn't he? And he was loving that.
Uh,
That was pretty unfortunate timing, to be fair.
Yeah.
Lost at the time. Well,
I think we salvaged it.
one of them, it happens.
Yeah, it can always be worse.
Yeah.
So what can we expect from Tides in the near future? Maybe a tour, European tour, maybe.
I hope so.
Single.
That's
I
Amsterdam
think
first.
you can expect you can, the thing is, as Fred's kind of mentioned before, we're working we're working kind of a lot behind the scenes at the moment, because what we're trying to do is basically the plan for now is to write a vast collection of songs that have been, so that they come we're thinking around next summer. We've got some studio time in between, so you can expect like a couple more singles over the next few months, but I think around next summer we're gonna look to do like a lengthy stretch of studio time, and kind of like collate everything we've been working on for what will have been the past year and a few months by that point. So, and then, you know, I don't know what that'll be, what that'll turn into. I mean, I think chances are we'll probably end up doing some sort of, you know, we'll release some more singles. We'll look at, you know, really scaling up like the video, and really and our, you know, our online presence and stuff like that. I think but yeah, so, you know, we've got, you know, so we've got new music coming early next year, and then, you know, but really I think like late sort of later on next year we're going to really look to start like really going for it in terms of the release schedule, and you know, hopefully book a tour for, you know, for around that time. That'll be ideal.
Nice.
Yeah, we've got I think we're going to start now to be playing more shows outside of Liverpool. I mean, we've got one in a couple of weeks that will be confirmed. I think next week will be announced next week, and then we should have one in London as well. And I think we just want to play in more places, because I think that's a really good way to grow as a band. Supporting, you know, bands that are known around the city that we're playing in is important as well. So yeah, playing outside Liverpool, I guess, in the near future is going to happen.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. I think with that, we've kind of reached a close to all the questions we had for you. So if you guys have any final message that for our listeners, maybe where they can find your music or you on social media, or even if you just have like a message, you know, like a deep message for the world, whatever you guys want to say, the floor is yours.
I guess well we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, Facebook. I think they're all Tides Liverpool, so fairly easy to find. We've got as we mentioned before, we released The Sun in the summer, and we've got another single on Spotify called Kaleidoscope. There are 2 videos for them on YouTube, so give them a watch as well. And yeah, I can't think of any inspirational quotes to give you.
It's fine.
You got anything?
Live, laugh, love.
It was a quote.
Second o'clock.
An inspiration. Anyway, yeah, I think that was it.
Inspirational.
Yeah, new music soon.
As well.
It won't be long. Yeah. And, yeah.
All right then, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
No
thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely speaking with you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
It was really not enthusiastic, but yeah, we really love the interview, and we hope you love it too. So don't hesitate to share with a friend who might love the song, who might love the band, who might be interested. Like, subscribe, comment.
And thanks again to Tides for speaking with us. Guys, if you haven't checked them out, please do. Their music is as amazing as they are as people. So please check it out. And yeah, I think we said that you should like and subscribe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, we can say it
again. Like and subscribe.
Everything will be in the bio. Sorry. Follow us on Instagram, on SoundCloud, on YouTube, everywhere, but not in real life because that's weird.
Yeah, don't forget. Okay, then.
Bye,
That's
guys.
it. Bye.